Hi, this is János, this is Real Audio, and I have a very interesting question today. Aquascape has commented that he has been using the Lee Fast 8s in an open baffle, and he made a Voigt pipe cabinet like one of these behind me, and he has some very interesting feedback. And let's see what's happening and what can be done about it. So he says that he's been using the drivers in his open baffles for 2 years, so they are really broken in by now. So whatever we are hearing is not because the drivers need more break-in. And what he's reporting is, on first test with both pipes running, they sound much better than I expected. Nice bass and highs, lacking mid-range a bit. Any suggestions? Possibly adjust the polyfill. I would also love your opinion on how you would have made a cabinet for these drivers. What dimensions would you use? My pipe's internal dimensions are approximately 7 liters with a height of 78.5 inches. Angle at top of pipe is 7 degrees. Depth of base front to back is 11 inches, and opening at the bottom, the port is 9 3/4 inch wide by 8 3/4 inch tall, and I made the height opening adjustable up to 10 3/4 inches high. And also I can close the opening down to whatever height I choose. Any help is greatly appreciated. Thanks again, János. So thank you for posting about it, and I think what you are experiencing, it's not because of the shape or dimensions of the pipes. If those dimensions are not right, then how it would show up is inadequate bass. But because you are getting nice bass, it means that the dimensions are right. So, and based on the numbers I see here, they are fine. And if you would open change the mouth or the port height, the size of it, then that would really affect only the bass response, how it matches up with your room. And you might even change it quite a bit, and in a specific room you would not notice any changes whatsoever. But if you would move the pipe to a different room, then maybe that would impact the bass quite a bit. But because now you have a good bass, I would say just leave the port as it is. I think that's all right. There's nothing to change there. If you change the amount of polyfill, which is like a filling material on the top half of the pipe, that acts almost like as a balancer. So if you put more polyfill, then you will have more quantity of bass, but it slows the sound as well, and it takes out the life of the pipe. So I would say for the polyfill, just keep it as light as possible, and just do not overstuff it, and change it as much as you would feel to get the best balance for your taste. It's more like almost kind of like a wine tasting, and with the density of the filling on the top of the pipe, you can adjust it to your taste. And however, that would not really affect the amount of mid-range coming out of the pipes. It would affect how dead or alive it sounds, and whether it matches an amplifier or it doesn't match an amplifier. Usually with solid state amplifiers you want to put more filling, more densely packed, but then it sounds more dead, but it works better with solid state amps as well. And for tube amplifiers you'll get much better results by getting as light with the polyfill as possible. But ultimately what I noticed with myself and my friends, that the density of the polyfill is for your taste, and yes, it does impact a lot on the perception of how you perceive the mid-range, and if it's really heavily stuffed, then that really holds back the mid-range and feels kind of like the mid-range is dead. So if that's what you feel compared to the how it sounded in the open buffer, that the mid-range is not like less in quantity but appears dead compared to how it was in the open buffer, then that's an indication that the polyfill is too dense. Just take out most of it. Just keep it very light, much lighter. I would say you can play around with that as well. The other thing that I noticed with the Voigt pipes is that they react very sensitively to negative feedback in the amplifiers, and if it comes across as the bass is great, the highs are great, problem with mid-range, then it's reporting that something is not so good with the amplifiers. So that's one thing that I always notice, that if people want to fix the mid-range of a Voigt pipe, it's never going to work, because the problem is not with the pipe, the problem is with the amplifier. However, in this case, there is another indication that we are noticing, is that, as you said, that, or maybe what I'm getting from this comment is that the balance, the mid-range was good with the open buffer, right? And if that's the case, that it sounded right in the open buffer, but it doesn't sound good with the pipe, then one thing that you might be doing is that, so what is happening now? It means that when you put a driver in different cabinets, then they can load the room in a different way, and also they interact with the amplifier in a different way, and that thing has happened to me as well. And then what you can do is maybe like simulate the room loading to be similar as it was with your open buffer, and just build little ears for the pipe. So basically, like right here on the side, like stuck on like a little panels, like maybe like that go out like 10 inches wide, maybe like 20 inches tall, 10-inch wide, and don't make them square, just nice, round them out. So, and the exact shape doesn't matter at all, just add a little bit of ears, so kind of like a hybrid open buffer and Voigt pipe. And actually I think that's the best probably the best approach for Voigt pipes. And that's what I noticed with these pipes as well, that in some rooms, yes, when I add those ears around them, then it makes the mid-range better, and not for the upper mid-range frequencies, but like the lower part of the mid-range, so it sounds fuller and more mature. But in other rooms, they don't need it, so it's kind of a room loading thing, and you might need those. I would say, like, you can try that. Yes, so basically those are my 2 cents for that thing, because the strength of the Voigt pipe is the mid-range, and if it's not happening, then my top indicator 1 is that the polyfill is overstuffed. Then I would say, if it's so bad that it bothers you, just take out all the polyfill, try it without any polyfill, see how it is, see if it's fixed the problem. If it's too lively, you can add tiny bits of polyfill back in until you get it to your taste. And if that's still not the problem, or maybe it made the issue a little bit better, but you still need tweaking, then I would say look at the amplifier as well. And what I noticed, that eventually I think for Voigt pipes, tube amplifiers are a must. solid state amps just get really they don't have good mid-range. So that's the issue with solid state amplification, that they emphasize the frequency extremes. You have copious low end, copious high end, and really sucky mid-range, and or just neutral and flat and boring mid-range in better cases. And I know like people are going to comment me all sorts of questions, but I'm talking specifically with amplifier married to a Voigt pipe in this combination. And when you do that, then I haven't heard a well, actually the Michael Yee PA1, after mods, after modifications, it has acceptable mid-range with Voigt pipes, but no other, I haven't heard any other solid state amplifier. It doesn't mean that they don't exist. Hypothetically, yes, probably I would say most likely there will be a few on the planet, but I would really dare it that without adjustments and modifications, none of them are a good match for Voigt pipes. And under a good match, I mean I'm being really narcissistic here. It means that I would not accept any of them in my house as a main amplifier to drive my Voigt pipe, because the mid-range is unacceptable. And you can DIY almost any tube amplifier, and their mid-range will be better than what the most excruciating effort on the solid state front might give you in combination with Voigt pipes. And I think probably that's one reason why there's the Voigt pipe camp is so much polarized, and there are some people who swear that these are crap. And I think when you are in this camp, what is happening is that these pipes are extremely revealing in the mid-range. And if your amplifier has problems in the mid-range, it's going to toss the whole lot on you. It's not going to make anything nicer. It's not going to apply any people-pleasing things to alter the sound. And why am I saying that? Because I've been using the pipes, so if I have friends who give me solid state amps to modify, I use them for voicing. And I do the mods, and I use them to report on whether it's an improvement or not. And they report dead accurately. And when I'm using this as voicing for the mods, and I give these friends of mine never heard those amps with the pipes. That's just me. But after I do that mod and I voiced it with the pipe, I give it back to them and they say, oh my god, János, you have taken this amp like 2 or 3 levels higher. So that's why I'm saying I'm not just fantasizing things, that these guys report everything, because when I use them to voice that gear that I say are deficient, and when I hear that the deficiency is gone, people do report major gains with their traditional speakers as well. And so that's about it, that if you are on your journey and you have solid state amps, then God bless you and good luck, because you will need to tie your pants up, because like you have a very, very tough journey ahead of you. If you have tube amps, then welcome, and basically the only thing you need to do is just keep on decreasing the feedback loop of your tube amps, and the mid-range will be, oh my god, coming up. So the only situation I run into with tube amplifiers that the mid-range was not up to my expectation with the pipes was with heavy feedback gear. And it's a weird thing, because when you have a tube amp with a heavy feedback, So for example, I had one of the Quicksilver mono amps, and I made it in a way that I can adjust the feedback amount on it. And when I used a monitor speaker, a two-way speaker with a crossover, and I, of course, when you use the feedback, it also changes the volume as well. So with less feedback, the volume, the output of the amp will be higher. And if I use like feedback up, volume up, or feedback down, volume down, so to have the volume at the same level, it's virtually indistinguishable how it sounds on a traditional two-way speaker cabinet. But do the same thing, hook it up to Voigt pipes, and oh my god, like the difference in mid-range is just staggering. It's big, it's really big. So I would say that's one more thing, that if your amp has heavy feedback on it, that's going to also make the mid-range boring a little bit. So those are my tips for Voigt pipes and how you can get the best mid-range with your pipes. So thank you Aqua Escape for your fantastic sharing, and thank you team. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.